Hello, hi everyone. I would first like to thank the Sustainable Educational Foundation for giving me the opportunity to talk to you all about Google Summer of Code and how to win Google Summer of Code, how to get selected, what are the things that you need to know before you apply an application, and how to write a proposal. And I would like to give you some of the tips that I know. And there are some misconceptions among people about that GSoC is hard, and getting selected to GSoC is like a dream to them, and sometimes people think it's impossible. But there are some aspects that you need to know before you apply, and it's not that hard. You can get selected as well. So I would like to start this session on how to get selected to Google Summer of Code this year. And if you're thinking that you're too late for this year, you're not too late. There is plenty of time, and I will show you the timeline as well. So let's get started. So my name is Raveen, and I currently work as a senior software engineer at LSEG Technology, and I have been an organization administrator, a mentor for Scholar for Google Summer of Code, and also for Google Coding. I've did my Google Summer of Code as a student in 2015, and I've completed that. So I would like to share my experiences on that, and let you guys win as well for this year. Okay, so I would like to give you an overview of what Google Summer of Code is. So it's a global program designed by Google to help open source organizations to get their projects on, and they're basically funding their projects because they are free and open source. So most organizations might not have a funding source, so Google funds those organizations to let students work on their projects and get a good outcome out of that. So university students are allowed to work on Google Summer of Code, and what happens in there basically is they have open source organizations applying for Google Summer of Code first, and when that organization get selected, they let Google let them to select students to their organization and work on their open source projects for about 4 months. So at the end, upon a successful Google Summer of Code completion, the organization will select that you have done well, and they will pass you. So at the end, you will receive a reward from Google on a successful completion. Okay. So why doing Google Summer of Code that important? It's a great learning experience, of course, because you will be working with people all around the world, and since they are open source organizations, most people know about these organizations. If you go to the open organizations list, you will find many world-renowned organizations around the world who are participating for Google Summer of Code. So, and also you will be recognized by Google, because at the end Google will send you a certificate upon a successful Google Summer of Code completion. And of course you are contributing to free and open source software, so you will be recognized as a committer for FOSS, and you will get to work with awesome people, because there are popular people as well in those organizations, and you can earn a reputation because you will be sometimes you will be working with your GitHub profile, and you will have contribution reputation, and you can show off your reputation to people. And also you will get swags from Google. Google will send you t-shirts and stickers for you. And the most important part is you will get paid from Google for doing Google Summer of Code. And how much you would ask? So it's $3,000, right? So at the time when we were doing Google Summer of Code, this amount was $5,000. Now they have got it down to $3,000 because of, you know, people in India and Sri Lanka get a less amount of money than people in the other countries. So it's an indicator that they have been using since the last two years, I think. So upon completion, flat out, you will receive 3,000 US dollars. So that's a good thing. So okay, so now I think you have a basic understanding on how Google Summer of Code work, and how much money you will get, and what are the advantages on that. So these are some of the common misconceptions that I've seen among people, and I have done these sessions on several different places before, and I try to highlight these much more. So some people might not have worked on an open source project before. So that is a main misconception. So you don't have to have the experience on working on open source projects before, but you have to get to know about your organization and the projects that they do, which I will tell you in a bit later. So some people, they fear that they haven't done anything on open source projects, so they don't think they will get a chance in GSoC. That's wrong. Try to get in touch with your organizations from now on. Go to their mailing list, go to their project list in GitHub. I will show that to you later, how to find that. Get in touch with the people in their organizations. If you go to GitHub, you can scroll down on their issues, and you can find people putting up issues in GitHub. You can solve them, you can put pull requests, such that. So, and another misconception is you don't have any time, right? So too much academic work, assignments. So I think people like us, we can manage this time, because if you don't know that many people in Sri Lanka do Google Summer of Code, and this time of life is when you have your most of your time, right? So it won't be much of an issue. You can work in your spare time after your university. You can work at night and even in your university. And since you are doing coding as the projects as for the projects in Google Summer of Code, it would help your academic career as well. And you don't have to be a master coder, right? You just have to have the passion and the attitude to work on these projects, and you have to have the attitude to code. And your GPA, it doesn't even matter, right? Nobody looks at your GPA. And another thing is you would have a mindset of, I will not get through, it's a waste of my time. That's not true, right? So you just have to apply, right? Nobody's going to blacklist you, or nobody's going to humiliate you in front of people if you get rejected, right? So just apply. Who knows, you might get accepted. So don't think like that. Just apply for Google Summer of Code. We will get to the applying stage in a bit. Right. So what do you have to know then? So you need to have an understanding and a knowledge on few programming languages. You might have your favorite programming language or framework. You have to have that basic knowledge on programming and frameworks. So otherwise, there is no hope of applying. So also it's important that you need to know how to use VCS tools like Git and SVN. People don't use SVN right now as much, but people use Git. So get a good understanding on how Git works, how to clone a project, how you do a pull request, how you do a push, a pull. And most of the organizations put their projects in GitHub. There are some organizations that host their projects in GitLab as well. So just get an understanding on how you fork an open source project as to your repo, and how you can change things and do pull requests looking at the issues. So you need to have a good understanding on working with GitLab, GitHub, and Git. And communication is another major thing, because you will be working with many people in the open source industry. So you need to know how to communicate in mailing threads. So there are some ethics as well. I will get to that in a bit. And also you need to know how to use build tools, depending on your programming language as well. But most importantly, your attitude and commitment is what matters most. Because if you have the attitude, right, you can do anything. You can study, if you even don't know this stuff before, you can study them in the internet and get to know about them. And you also have to have that commitment, that you need to be committed that you will finish this, you will learn this somehow, and you're going to finish this. Okay, so you also need to be an early bird, right? Because many people are hoping to apply for Google Summer of Code. So there is a high possibility that 3 or 4 people or maybe more will be applying to the same project that you are applying, right? So you need to be an early bird. So for that, you need to know, since the organizations have not been announced yet for this year, you need to know what kind of organizations might come this year as well. So to know about that, you need to know where to find the last year's organizations and the year before, right? So if you go to summerofcode.com/archive/2019 and /organizations, you will see a list of organizations that participated in Google Summer of Code last year. So I will show you that. So if you go to this link, right, so you can see the 2019 organizations that participated in Google Summer of Code. So here are some organizations. So if you see, there are many popular organizations participating in Google Summer of Code. And if you click on one of them, so if you click on them and if you go to their page, you can see a list of the projects and the ideas that they have announced last year. So that way you can see what will be there in this year as well. Right. So you need to be an early bird to, you know, to get accepted. If you will have a better chance at getting accepted if you be an early bird. So when you go to the organizations list, as I've told you, you will find a link to the website of that organization. So you can go to that link and you can find all the projects that they have proposed for last year. That means 2019. But if an organization is hoping to participate in 2020 Google Summer of Code as well, they will most probably put up their ideas list for 2020 as well in their organization page. So now it's the time, I think, for organizations to apply for Google Summer of Code. So still Google hasn't announced the organization. So if you go to the organizations list and if you find an organization that fits you, you can go to their ideas list and scroll down to their projects. And if you see a project that has your favorite language, your favorite framework in that, that might be the best fit for you. Okay. So, and also don't focus on too many projects, right? Just see what's the best one for you and try to apply for that. Right. So, and also find their GitHub repos because all their coding information, issues are in the GitHub repos. So go to the organization page and most probably they will have a GitHub link. Go to that GitHub page and see the projects and see if there are any issues that you can address. It might be even a documentation error that you can fix and put a pull request. So when you do that, the people in that organization will get to know you, that they will know that you have a potential in this, and that they will see that you are eager to participate in this. So you can get to know about the mentors and the organization that way. It's all about getting to know about the community. So you need to be open and you have to respect everyone, and you have to talk with everyone, get to know about the organization, and you will have a better chance at getting selected. Right. So also find their mail groups. It's already there in Google's page, organization page. Click on the organization name and you can get to that one as well. Right. So you have to be so for you to be selected, right, you have to be special among others as well. To do that, you have to help everyone. If you subscribe into the mailing list or the GitHub issues list, you might see people asking questions and putting up issues. So try to help them. If you know about some info on that, try to help them in their issues. Okay. So when you go to the community's mailing list, first introduce yourself, tell about yourself, what you do. Normally you start with hi, I'm this person, I would like to work on your organizations, I am proficient in these languages, I like this project, I want to contribute to that. So it's not late to start. You can start today. Go to the organization list and find their mail groups and drop a mail introducing yourself. And if you see other people asking questions in mail threads, try to answer them, but first do your research first. You have to be sure on what you answer and be polite. Also go to their, if you have a project that you like, you go to that page and fork that project into your repo, and you can start working on that first you have to fork the repo and start sending pull requests if you have fixed any issues. And if you get a good PR, get a pull request, and if they accept that, then you are one step closer to getting accepted for Google Summer of Code. Right. So when you do communications in mailing threads and even in GitHub, there are some basic ethics that you need to follow, right? So do not use caps, like to emphasize words. Do not overemphasize anything, right? Everyone can see your mail, so don't do that. Don't use sir or madams in mailing threads. Be polite, respect everyone in your emails, and do your homework before you ask questions. And also type good English. Don't use the SMS language to type English. You don't have to be grammatically correct, right? Not everyone is perfect in English. You don't have to be that correct, but try to write your idea that when someone reads that, they will understand it. And don't put personal messages to any mentors or anyone, right? Because sometimes people try to avoid and blacklist people if they send personal messages to mentors. Be quick and responsive. If someone asks you a question, be quick and send them a response. Do not use tags, important, urgent tags to anyone. Don't use HTML templates in your mails. Try to be plain, simple and plain as possible. And don't post ads, you will get banned immediately. And don't hijack threads. A mail thread is where a topic discussion goes on. Don't go into the middle and start a new topic in that, right? So that's not ethical. Don't start to hijack threads, mail threads in open source organizations, because everyone can see every mail in there. And write clean and clear emails. Don't use any emojis or anything if it's not necessary. And also they have mail archives, all mails, all discussions that have gone on a specific project. So go on to the archives and try to find, try to do research before you answer questions, because you need to know about the history of that project and history of those issues if there are any. Right, so I need to show you the timeline so just forget about the topic. I haven't changed the year. So this is the 2020 timeline, not the 2019. This is the new timeline. So organizations are yet to be announced, and they will announce organizations on February 21st. So you still have time. You have plenty of time, right? And your application, as a student you will be applying, so your applications will be they will start to accept your applications on March 16th. So you have plenty of time till March 16th, and from March 16th to 31st there is time for you to prepare your application and apply. Application review period will be from March 31st to April 27th, and students projects will be announced on April 27th. So April 27th will be the day that your name will be announced if you have been selected to GSoC. And the community bonding period is basically there for you to bond with mentors and the organization and other people in that organization. And then the coding will start from May 18th to August 10th. And in that time period, there will be a mid-review of how good you work. And if you fail the mid-review, you won't get the full reward, because remember that the organization has the ability to fail you whenever they want. And Google also encourage, if the student is not working very well, they encourage organizations to fail that student. And the final evaluations will be from August 10th to 17th, and results will be announced on August 25th. Right, so organizations announced. Right now, when the organizations have been announced on February 21st, which organizations will be competing to get students for Google Summer of Code. So you now have a clear path on which organizations you should focus on. So on that time, you need to buckle up, go check through the organizations and select the projects. So in this time, like in February 21st, that you will be in a state that you have communicated with the organization, you have gone through the projects list, you have gone through the issues, you know about the projects, you have communicated with the mentors, and so you have a clear idea on what projects are there. So now you need to select a project and write good proposals. So the proposal is the way that the mentors or the organization know how good you are going to do on that, and based on that they will accept you to their organization. So even if you haven't done anything to that organization before, if you write a good proposal and if they feel confident about that, they will accept you to the organization for Google Summer of Code. Right. So I think even in a question that people have asked about how to write a good proposal for Google Summer of Code. So there are some things that you need to keep in mind when you write a proposal for GSoC. So the best thing that you can do is go to Google Docs and start a new document, right? And get a good template. I think you have a basic understanding on how you write a software document, and read the question of the proposal thoroughly. They have project proposals, and they have the organization will tell you in their page that this is the problem that we have and we need to solve this. So before writing the proposal, just communicate with the mentors. They have also mentioned the mentors and their emails. So drop a mail to their mail group and tell them that you're going to write a proposal for this, and if you have any doubts, please clear them out by putting an email. And when you explain on how to solve that question that they have put, so just try to break it down on telling the problem and your approach and how the final outcome would be. So write good diagrams and flow charts, because you are not going to write any code on your proposal, right? So try to write diagrams and flowcharts and show the mentors that you are going to do the project this way, right? So use class diagrams, use sequence diagrams, use flowcharts, anything you need, and write a good software document. And also, you know how Google Summer of Code will play out. So you know the timelines, and you know when it's going to be the final evaluations. So write a good timeline, right? So your project might have many deliverables, right? If you are writing a software, so that software might have an initial state, and there might be features as add-ons, right? So just explain in your timeline that in these days I will deliver this, in this day I will implement this feature and deliver this, and at the final evaluation I will deliver the final product as this. So just try to explain the timeline so that mentors will have a confidence about you on the deliverables and how. So when you break these deliverables down, mentors will know that you know how this project is going to go on, and you are confident about that. And also, if you really need code snippets, try to add them. Don't add bulk amount of codes to that. And if you have several approaches, try to state them as well. And if you are choosing a language or a framework for some reason for that problem, please try to state in your proposal that you are using this framework for this reason, because you can't go and say I will use Python and Flask for this without any reason, right? There are other frameworks, and you have to justify on what technologies you are going to use. So when you use Google Docs, you can share that with the mentors and let them comment on the document. So that way the mentors will give feedback on your proposal, so you can edit the document at any time and get a good reviewed proposal at the end before you apply. Right, so if you done everything right, now you will be announced as a winner, as selected for Google Summer of Code. So that's just the start, right? So you're accepted, you are in, right? Now your next target should be to communicate with the organization, with the mentors, and bond with them, right? So ask questions on because now you know that you have been accepted. Ask questions in the mailing threads from mentors, get feedback, and mentors will put meetings with you, most probably in Hangouts. Don't ditch them. Try to get to every meeting, and if you are unable to come to a meeting, an online meeting, please inform early as possible that you can't attend. And you might be on going on trips, you might have other academic work that you need to attend to, and any other personal reasons, but please try to inform them earlier, because they might start the meeting and wait for you, and if you haven't informed, they will lose confidence in you, and that might affect your final grading in GSoC. And try to finish your work on time as your timeline. So it might deviate a little bit, but don't do that much of deviation from your timeline to your real deliverables. Try to deliver everything on time, and deliver everything as promised as well. And also remember, the most important thing is that it's not Google that decides that you pass GSoC or not. It will be decided by your organization and the mentors that mentor you, right? So they will not fail you if you have done if you haven't done uh, you know, if you're very bad, you will have a big chance of getting failed. But if you, the mentors will inform you if you are not doing good, to, you know, get your you know, things straighten up and do well in the future. But you know, if you haven't done very bad, you're okay, but don't try to get into that position, because some mentors might fail you and some might not. The organization, the open source organization, will tell in your final review that you haven't done very well, and they will try to fail you if you haven't done a good job. Right. So after that, you know, when GSoC is over, you know, you might wonder, now it's done, so I don't need to look at that again. But please keep in mind, you're working with open source organizations which might, you know, be a big help in your resume when you're applying for jobs or anywhere, because open source contribution is highly appreciated worldwide. And when you have done things in Google Summer of Code, you are doing that with, you know, famous organizations, so people will get to know about you. So don't stop contributing. Keep in touch with your organization and contribute further, and keep a good touch with the community, open source community. And you know, if you passed out from your university, you can be a mentor in the next Google Summer of Code, right? And who knows, you might also be famous among the FOSS community, because, you know, people in Google Summer of Code, mentors, they have a separate mail thread, and there are many people, many famous people. They are famous because they have famous projects, and they have you know, contributed to Google Summer of Code for a long time, and program coordinators in Google even know about them. So you will be a get to know character as well if you have done well. So try to be a mentor after you have done Google Summer of Code as a student, by getting in touch with the organization further. And who knows, you might even get land a trip to go to San Francisco as well for Google Summer of Code Mentor Summit. So last year it was in Germany, and they haven't announced the place for this year. So they have been hosting this in San Francisco for the last few years, but just for the last year they have switched it to Germany, and we don't know in what country the Mentor Summit would be. So this is for if you are a mentor, if you have you know, contributed as a student, and you need to contribute further to that open source project. So thank you everyone for listening. So that's the things that I have. So if you my organization is what I mentor is on Schoolab. You can find the URL here. So we will be applying for Google Summer of Code 2019-2020 as well. So we have put our application, so we'll be waiting for the results. So you can go to our organization and find our projects and put a mail to us as well if you want. But there are many organizations, many projects to choose from. You might find your favorite language and favorite framework in an organization that you haven't, you know, heard before. So just you know, try to find those projects and try to apply. So I think I have answered the questions that you have asked, even in the page, how to write a good proposal, and how do you find an organization to apply for GSoC. So I think I have answered those questions. And another question was there that how do you choose a mentor? That is not up to you. Organization will assign mentors for you when you find your project. So I will tell this again. Go to the archives of 2019. I have already shown you that page. If you go to the 2019 organizations, you will find this list, and just look through their ideas and see if an idea suits you, and if the frameworks and the languages that they are using is something that you like, you can apply to that organization for Google Summer of Code. So that's it from me. I would say 5 minutes if anyone have any questions after this slide. If there are any questions, I would like to answer. I think I have answered the questions that you have posted in your page, that you have posted in the page. So I would wait a little more time to see if there are any more questions. Right. So I think that's it. I think I have answered the questions that you had in your mind on how GSoC is played out, and how you can apply to GSoC and win the prize amount, and to be a star in the open source community. So please keep in mind on what I have said, and if you need the slides, I will try to share that in the page as well. The slide deck is open to everyone. It's a link shareable, so everyone can see. So all the important links are there in the slides, so I would share that in the page as well. So I hope everyone got a good understanding on this, and I wish everyone a good luck for Google Summer of Code 2020 if you're going to apply and you're not late. So start today, it's not late. Go just after this, just go to the page and try to get in touch with the organizations. Last year they will be most probably applying for this year as well, if they have projects for 2020 in their organization page. So I hope, I wish everyone a good night, and I hope everyone can apply and get selected for GSoC and make Sri Lanka proud as well. So thank you everyone. I will end the feed now, since we don't have any further questions. So I will end the feed now, and good night everyone.